The year is 2010. Rockstar releases the first Red Dead Redemption and it is immediately a smash hit. People love the game, people love John Marston, people love the setting, and just everything about the game was just perfect. And most importantly, it left people wanting more. 2018 rolls around and Rockstar drops the sequel. Well, it's actually a prequel, but never mind. And this game was just far bigger and far better in my opinion. People loved Arthur Morgan, some even more than John Marston. And everything from the first game was improved upon in this one. The graphics were beautiful and the storytelling was some of the best you'll ever see. But once again, it left people wanting more. But in this video, I'm going to tell you why there shouldn't be a Red Dead Redemption 3. A big part of this topic is the understanding of the phrase, nothing ever lasts forever. And knowing that all good things and good stories come to an end. Let's apply this to a real life scenario. Let's use Breaking Bad as an example. It told a beautiful story and then finished in a perfect way. There was nothing unnecessary that ruined its image. I mean, sure, there were spin-offs, but those can be watched individually because they're so good. And surprisingly, the existence of Better Call Saul makes Breaking Bad even better. But let's compare this to The Walking Dead. And to be fair to it, in the beginning and through its first few seasons, it was peak TV. But as the seasons dragged on, it just got more unnecessary and the whole quality of the show just went downhill and it slowly became a joke. And because of this, something that was once really good is now looked upon as a low quality and overall mid show. But I know what you're thinking. How is this in any way related to a potential Red Dead Redemption 3? Well, let me explain. I believe that there is no more story to tell within the Van der Linde gang. I personally believe that everything that we needed to see has already been shown and everything else is just unnecessary and unneeded. And circling back to what I said about the two TV shows, just because something is good doesn't mean that we need more of it. I'm now going to go over some potential ideas for Red Dead Redemption 3 and just tell you why they wouldn't work. A lot of people want Red Dead 3 to be about a young Dutch Van der Linde and show how the whole gang came to fruition, and how it all led to the Blackwater Massacre, which takes place just before Red Dead Redemption 2. There's a few reasons that I do not like this idea. Number one, once again, it is unnecessary and we do not need to know this. We already know so much about how the gang was formed and some of the things they did. So what's the point in making a whole game about it when we already know so much? And also, what would the redemption be? The game's called Red Dead Redemption for a reason. And in this scenario, I don't see any case in how there would be redemption, considering that the game would finish in an absolute massacre. And most people who want this to be Red Dead 3 want to be controlling Dutch. But in usual Red Dead fashion, the main character usually dies, and we know that Dutch doesn't die. So that just cannot work. And also, I just don't really like the whole idea of playing as Dutch. I feel like he should be a character that we are never in control of. And I also don't think we should ever see the Blackwater Massacre. My reasoning for that is that there's been so much build-up towards it that anything Rockstar does will just be seen as underwhelming and not live up to the expectations. So I think it's best if we just never see the Blackwater Massacre, and if we only know about it from dialogue. So overall, I do not think this is a good idea for a Red Dead Redemption 3, and I hope that Rockstar sees this too and they don't make it, because it is unnecessary and it is pointless. Another idea that people have for Red Dead 3 is a continuation of the Jack Marston story, and just pretty much pick up where Red Dead 1 left off. And people say that this game would be about Jack dealing with the consequences of killing Agent Ross, and the consequences being that he's drafted into the US Army for World War I. But that is a problem in itself, as the game is about the dying era of the Wild West. And in this scenario, the game would take place in World War I. You see my problem? Because by the time that World War I had rolled around, the era of the Wild West was very much dead. And also, the game would just not even feel like a Red Dead game, as it would take place during World War I, where most of the combat was trench warfare, which was very slow and very boring. So what would the game even be about? Just Jack Marston sitting in a trench waiting for something to happen? Yeah, I just don't see that happening at all. Like, why would that even be made? I mean, yeah, it'd be cool to see what happened to Jack after Red Dead 1, but it is also heavily implied that Jack followed John's path and became an outlaw. And we also know that Jack doesn't die, because in GTA 5 there is an Easter egg where if you look at one of the bookshelves, I don't remember where, but on a bookshelf somewhere, there's a book called Red Dead Redemption written by Jack Marston. So once again, we lose the whole element of the main character dying. So yeah, I don't really see Rockstar going down that path for Red Dead 3. So let's look at some other ideas. Some people want Red Dead 3 to be focused around the story of Matt Callender and how he joined the gang and some of the things he did with the gang while he was still alive. But the glaring issue with this idea is that we are already aware that Matt Callender dies before Red Dead 2. So the ending is already confirmed. Because of this, I don't see the game being anywhere near as impactful as the first two games, because unlike John and Arthur, we are already aware that Mac dies. So in my opinion, this is a no-go. Another idea that people have for Red Dead 3 is a game based around Landon Ricketts and the prime of the Wild West. This could actually be quite interesting, as we have never really seen the prime days of the Wild West in a Red Dead game before. I mean, with Red Dead Revolver maybe, but is that game even canon? I don't think so. So in this game, I would assume that we would follow through some of the main events of Landon Ricketts' life, and we can see how he became such a well-known outlaw. But however, once again, if this were to be made, it would feature the Blackwater Massacre, as it was stated that Landon Ricketts was apparently present when it was going on. I mean, we don't really know if he actually was there or not, or what his role was, but as I said earlier, I just don't really want to see the Blackwater Massacre in a game, as it would be really underwhelming no matter what they do. And another problem is, we know how his story ends. We know that he passes away peacefully in his sleep, so it wouldn't be very exhilarating to play, would it? And also, some people might view this whole thing as disrespectful, because the original voice actor for Landon Ricketts did die, so people might have a problem with that. So I think because of all this, Rockstar won't do this. There are some people who would like to see a continuation of the story of Sadie Adler and Charles Smith and what they did after the Red Dead Redemption 2 epilogue. But I don't really see that happening as Red Dead 3. Maybe it's like a DLC or something, but I don't think there's enough content for it to be Red Dead Redemption 3. And that's pretty much all the ideas that I've heard for Red Dead Redemption 3, and I don't think that any of them would be anywhere near as good as the first two games. And it's because of this that I believe that we shouldn't get a Red Dead Redemption 3, because there is just nothing that needs to be told. The story's over. End it. We all know that's not going to happen, because it's one of the most profitable gaming franchises ever. So Rockstar's obviously going to cash in and make another one. So the only way of doing this without damaging the legacy of the whole franchise is to make a game in the universe, which isn't Red Dead Redemption 3. Maybe a smaller story that doesn't have anything to do with the Van der Linde gang. I mean, maybe they can feature for a cameo or a mission or something, but I don't think the story should be based around them at all. There is simply just nothing more to tell. But anyway guys, that's the end of the video. Let me know what you think. Do you have any better ideas for Red Dead 3? Comment below. And I just want to take a moment to thank you all for the great support I've received on this channel. We're growing way faster than I thought we would. And until next time, I'll see you later.